Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special 2020 reunion episode and for those of you listening for the first time, that's when I bring on a guest that I had on in the past, and I had so much fun with them, I brought them back again. I couldn't get enough. So today I have on one of those guests, Felecia Fro, who is Managing Member over at Eco Alliance Group. Felecia, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, thanks. Nice to be back, and happy 2020.
Yes, happy 2020, and I'm excited to get into what you're working on. This looks really interesting. So let's just jump right in. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing over at Eco Alliance Group.
So this is a group that I've been working with for over a year. We are working in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to bring food access, basically. So we are doing hydroponic grow, so commercial hydroponics, and grocery stores. Grocery stores are going to be in food deserts. Our hydroponics are to supply the grocery stores in addition to regional supply. So we have relationships with food brokers and food wholesalers, so we will be able to sell our produce directly to a wholesaler who has contracts with national retailers. And the trend is going to where these national retailers want their produce that's coming to their grocery stores to come from closer to where they are. Right now in Oklahoma and a lot of the Midwest, the food travels over 2,000 miles to get to you, and that traveling, you lose lots of nutrition because it's been picked way before it was ready to be picked, so it gets to you before it's rotten. So that's what we're doing. We're just improving food access in an area of Oklahoma that has really suffered because of lack of food, good food.
Can you talk a little? I don't want to assume. So you're using a term there that I know it, and I've interviewed some other people in that space, but I don't want to assume that everybody listening does. Can you define or get a little bit more in depth on that whole problem of food desert?
Okay, yeah, a food desert there's loose definitions of what it is, but it's an area in a town where people have difficulty either because there is no food or there's no grocery store, or they have a hard time transportation getting to that grocery store. So there's lack of fresh food, fresh fruits, vegetables, and sometimes just groceries in general. In the particular area I'm talking about in Tulsa, it's North Tulsa, there's lots of fast food, there's lots of quick trips, there's dollar stores, which, by the way, this area of Oklahoma, this area in Tulsa, was their representative, Vanessa Hall Harper, was the first person to actually keep a dollar store out of their city, out of her town, another one from coming up, because those are keeping grocery stores from being able to prosper and keeping grocery stores from coming in. And they're not selling the food that is healthy food. I'm air quoting healthy, but does that make sense? Fresh,
no,
good,
absolutely.
Organic.
So what it comes down to is I think if somebody has never lived in one of these food deserts, they have no idea. So we take it for granted, right? Like you just go to,
yes,
I live
exactly.
in Santa Monica, and I don't know, I can probably walk to, I don't know how many stores or how many whatevers, and they're not all dollar stores, and I have my choice of whether I want to spend whole food money or if I want to spend dollar store money and everything in between, right?
Gotcha.
So when you're in other places, though, it's not quite like that, right?
Correct, and thanks for bringing that up, because we all live in our bubbles that we live in, and it was something that I didn't realize either. I mean, I have a car. I've always had a car as long as I can remember, so I could go to whatever grocery store I wanted to. You're talking about driving to one. Everybody doesn't have that. There are places where somebody has to get on a bus to go, 5-10 miles to get their groceries. Imagine wanting to buy maybe even ice cream, because, we like ice cream, and getting home with that on the bus. Having to take all the stops that you take, so you're an hour on the bus to get there, an hour on the bus to get back. You're not really going to buy all the food that you need. You probably aren't going to go there very often. It's a big problem. It's a big problem. So it's such a problem that we believe that one of the reasons North Tulsa has an 11-year less life expectancy. So that people in North Tulsa live 11 years shorter than people who live in South Tulsa. Same city, 11-year life expectancy difference.
Wow. And so let's talk about kind of the economics of this. So you said you're mentioning hydroponics and you're mentioning a different possible food chain supply. Let's talk a little bit more about what that looks like and why that helps solve the problem.
So I'm going to talk about it in two different ways. One, from an investor standpoint, because I know a lot of people think about, well, what does this have to do with real estate? But there is real estate. We're purchasing old warehouses. We're building greenhouses. So old warehouse is going to be grocery stores and hydroponics. The greenhouses, of course, are hydroponics. So we have 110,000 square feet of greenhouse space that can grow at up to 360,000 pounds of food a year. It will supply, like I said, the grocery stores that we will also run, operate, and own. That's too much food. That's too much food that we can grow to supply just a grocery store. Plus, economically, I think most of us know that grocery stores have a very thin margin. So in order to make this economically something that an investor is interested in, we have those relationships with food brokers, and that's where the finances work for an investor. So in addition to having the real estate that's going to appreciate because there's a business in there, and you have the business operation of selling fresh produce to a food broker who has a contract with major retailers in the region, and it's just a continual pump out of how fast can you get us the food.
That's awesome. And so I know right now you're in the middle of raising capital and looking at partners in this. So what does that look like? Because there's a lot of people listening, around the country that invest in real estate and are always looking for opportunities.
Correct. So this one is, in addition to making a big impact in a town, in a city for people, it's a good investment for you, gets you a good return on your investment. So we're looking at raising $6.5 million, which will help us build our greenhouses, purchase our grocery store. In addition to that money, we have traditional financing. In addition to, one of the guys on our team is very, very adept at knowing every single government agency that looks to fund the kind of things that we're doing. So we have money coming from lots of different places, which serves to improve the ROI for an investor. So this investment is an 8% preferred return with 70% equity to the investors with 5 to 10 year holds. We have the 10-year because our project is an opportunity zone. So those folks that have their capital gains, have their money sitting in the stock market and are just like, where can I put this so that I can get some tax advantages when I finally pull it out? Now's the time to do it. And this is a great project. You're going to make a big difference for the lives of a lot of people and have a return on investment that looks really nice for you. Our internal rate of return is looking anywhere from 17 to over 20%.
And so what's the timeline for a project like this?
Ask me that again. I'm sorry, Adam.
What's the timeline for a project like this? When are you looking to really move on this?
We are moving on it right now. So we have a contract that we have to fulfill by mid-June. So that is why we're starting on our greenhouse build right now. We're looking at having our first, once we get our raise done, which we're looking to have it all done by March, April, with the production that we have planned, everything's kind of lining up, and the contracts that we have, we're looking that our first disbursement or our first payment to investors will be end of December. So that would be the 8% preferred. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. No, that's exciting. And I just want to know how far out you were from this. So we're talking this year. So this thing should be up and operational later this year. That's awesome.
Sandra, we plan to have. Yeah, I'm sorry. We plan to have every grocery store open for the holiday. So before Thanksgiving, every one of our grocery stores will be open. The full first phase of the greenhouse should be done before June. Like I said, we have contracts ready to go by end of June. It takes 6 weeks to grow food. So that gives you a little bit of what our timeline looks like.
That's fantastic. So, Felecia, if somebody wants more information and they're listening, what's the best way for them to reach out?
There's a couple of different ways. You can find me on at ecoallianceinvestment.com. That's our website. You can email me at Felecia, F like Frank, ELECIA, at EcoAlliance. And Eco is ECO. Alliance is alliancegroup.com. So Felecia at ecoalliancegroup.com. We are on Facebook as Eco Alliance Group. I'm on LinkedIn as Felecia Fro, MD. All the usual suspects. You'll find us.
That's awesome. Well, Felecia, it's really been a pleasure having you back on the show, and I'm really excited about all the work you're doing over at Eco Alliance Group. So really great stuff there. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Felecia, thanks again for coming on the show.